goes forward, tried a first-time pass inside of Ben White, but the defender deflects it back to the Sporting man. 1-2 with Simos. Trusted to start tonight, the teenager having his breakout year at Sporting. Morita gives it to Diomande, another player who was often linked with Arsenal in the past. A real need for a centre-half at the Gunners at this moment in time. Diomande still on the ball, gives it to Fresneda. Now Morita under pressure from Odegaard, and that's forced an error which Declan Rice intercepts. Back to Zubamendi. Looks to get Arsenal up the pitch. Does play it forward to Martin Odegaard in the centre circle. Turns and gives it left to Gabriel. Back with the Arsenal skipper. Looking left and right. He's just held it a little too long there, invited the press from Luis Suarez, and has to give it back to William Saliba. Saliba into the feet of Rice. Back with the French centre-half and over to Gabriel. Two Arsenal centre-backs and Ben White forming a three as Ricardo Calafiori drifts into his free roll. Ball now with Martin Zubamendi in the centre circle. Calafiori is the man showing for it. Zubamendi gives it back to Saliba. Zubamendi again. Of horizontal play from Arsenal. They're not really progressing the ball here in these early stages as Gabriel now puts studs on the ball, gives it to Saliba. And again it's Zubamendi dropping into the defensive line wanting the ball. Saliba instead goes the other way to Gabriel, back to Raya. Rolled out to Odegaard, who comes to the edge of the D to collect the ball. Given left to Gabriel, 5 minutes on the clock, 0-0 between Sporting and Arsenal. Martin Odegaard, deepest Arsenal player, and he's waving Saliba and Gabriel forward, trying to get the team up the pitch. This patient build-up. Gabriel now on the ball. Gives it to Odegaard again, who's floated into a space on the left, but he's run into trouble and lost the ball. Trincao now. Suarez. Trincao again. The right for Catamo, and dispossessed by Declan Rice, who then hooks it forward. Out of play though. From the throw, Sporting to Diomande. Morita. Diomande. Ball through, looking for Goncalves, and is found. Araujo hits the bar! Away! Not fully out of depth yet. Scrambling on the edge of the box, and now there's a man down. Referee's blowing his whistle, and I think it's a free kick right on the edge of the penalty area for Sporting. It's Araujo, the left back, who's bombed forward here. He's got him behind Ben White far too easily as Diomande picks out the long ball. Araujo's got so much time to... Well, he doesn't actually get a touch on the ball until the shot. He just waits for it to settle in front of him. It's a perfect ball from Diomande. Stops in the stride of his left back Araujo. Pulls the trigger. I think David Raya might get fingertips to that. Onto the crossbar and away. But came back into trouble. And there was a foul right on the edge of the penalty area. On the right hand side as Sporting look at it. Trincao and Goncalves over the free kick. In a really dangerous position, only about 20 yards from goal, just outside of David Raya's left post. 5 in the wall. And a 6th lying behind it. Curled into the wall by Trincao. Comes out to Araujo, who curls it just over the top left corner. Raya wasn't getting to it, I don't think. Well, he's announced himself in this game. Araujo, the left back. All that is inches over. I've just seen the replay. Sporting will feel disappointed not to be 1-0 up here. 8 minutes on the clock. And Arsenal invite pressure from the goal kick. Raya to White, immediately closed down. Back to Raya, who has to kick long. Ball brought down by Zubamendi now. Rice out to Calafiori on the left. First time he's got the ball in the Sporting half. Gives it back to Declan Rice in the centre circle. Fizz past to Martin Odegaard. That's a nice one. Now out to Madueke around the outside of him. Araujo with a crunching tackle. Ball comes out to Odegaard. White through to Madueke. Is clearly offside as he touches it back to Odegaard. Flag goes up. Sporting free kick. Oh my, well, I've just seen the replay of that Diamande pass for the Araujo chance. I knew it was a good pass from Diamande, but he's played that about 70 yards with the outside of his boot. He's just come across it with the right foot and zinged it through to the left. It's an incredible pass from Diamande. Really was worthy of the opening goal here. As I say, I think David Raya got fingertips on the shot from Araujo. Here are Arsenal with the ball though, back in play. Calafiori back to Gabriel. Raya is pressed by Trincao, pings it out to the right, looking for Madueke. He's going to have to leap here to beat Araujo. He did, but the ball then fell back into Sporting hands with Simoes. And now out to Gini Catamo. Step over to the byline, low shot, Raya saves. And rolls it out early to Odegaard. Odegaard striding forward, Gyökeres wanted it early, doesn't get it. Odegaard turns back and gives it to Rice. Ben White. Forward to Madueke, back to White. Odegaard receives in field. Scan and plays a 1-2 with Declan Rice right on the centre spot. Back with Saliba, just inside the Arsenal half, and gives it to Ben White, who's on the halfway line. Clipped forward to Madueke, doesn't get it initially under control, brings it infield to Gyökeres though in the box. Can he tee up Trossard? Crucial bit of defending there by Araujo, who comes across from left to right and comes away with the ball. Pinged forward by Araujo. Asking a lot of Suarez to hold that up against Gabriel, and Suarez's touch just takes it out of play for an Arsenal throw-in on the halfway line. First big moment for Arsenal. I think Madueke just scuffed the cutback a little bit, gave Gyökeres a lot to do. He tried to turn and tee up Trossard while holding the defender off, but just couldn't get the power on it to work it through to the Belgian. Arsenal back in possession though with Declan Rice fizzing out to Odegaard on the right. Now Ben White receives it early, helps it on to Madueke at the touchline, up against Araujo. Madueke drops the shoulder, comes onto the left foot, cross, looks a good one. Gyökeres beaten in the air by Diamande. Comes out to Gabriel. Out to Trossard. Back with Gabriel, Rice showing early. Gabriel instead is looking for a forward ball, couldn't see an option. Now it's back with Rice. 1-2 with Odegaard. And another one. And another. I think Rice is saying to his captain, turn. You've got space. There's 3-1-2s there. Odegaard could have turned and driven with that ball, but eventually it's worked out to Madueke on the right, who's coming infield. Gives it to Gabriel. Trossard. Back to Rice. Zubamendi. In the final third here are Arsenal just playing it horizontally for now. Odegaard had a run from White, goes out to Madueke on the right instead. Madueke tries to take on Araujo, and he's been fouled there, Madueke. Free kick for Arsenal in the crossing position on the right. "30 minutes on the clock here. 16 played in Madrid, where it's 0-0 between Real Madrid and Bayern Munich. Martin Odegaard stands alone over this free kick. Sure, he's going to be crossing this one in. Rui Silva organising his wall at the near post. Just a two-man. Gini Catamo and Pedro Goncalves as Odegaard whips it on the keeper. Oh, it's headed and wide somehow. How has that one not ended up in the net? Referee has blown here for a foul, I think, in any case. It's a really good ball right on Rui Silva by Odegaard. Zubamendi comes barrelling in along with Gyökeres. Diomande is the Sporting player being forced back, and I think he is the one. Is he fouled? Or is no, the referee is. Diomande gets a touch, and the referee is given a corner to Arsenal. I think a crucial bit of defending actually by Diomande there. I thought the referee had given a foul. Looked like he pointed for it, but no, corner to come. Madueke to take, but not before the referee has had a word with Gabriel and Simoes at the back post. Right arm goes up from Noni Madueke, taking corners in the absence of Bukayo Saka. Puts it right on the goalkeeper, he's hit the bar! On the follow-up is Martin Odegaard, low shot is blocked, I think. It's wide of the mark. I think there's a block in here. You'd surely hope so. With Martin Odegaard missing from here, edge of the penalty area. It's a really good delivery from Noni Madueke. So much bend on it, forces the goalkeeper back into his goal mouth. Almost scores direct from it, hits the crossbar with the keeper scrambling. It was a goal kick, no block on the Odegaard shot. He's just dragged it wide. That's poor from the Arsenal skipper. This is his sort of area. Foul by Ricardo Calafiori as Sporting tried to play out. Just gone through Gini Catamo. Seeing another shot of that effort now. Odegaard on the strong foot just drags it back across goal the way it came, just wide of the mark. Needs to hit the target there though. From the Sporting free kick, Inacio receives a bit of a hospital pass and just lumps it forward back into Arsenal possession. Gabriel clipping it down the left channel looking for Trossard. Too much on here, runs through to Rui Silva, the goalkeeper. Goal kick to Inacio, and again the Sporting captain put under unnecessary pressure there by his goalkeeper. He tried to clear it against Madueke, out for a Sporting throw in, Araujo to take. Wants an option shorter, didn't get one. Ben White wins against Simoes, and now the throw-in surely has gone Arsenal's way. White certainly thought so. Not sure what the decision is at this moment. Oh, there's another throw to Sporting, in fact. Araujo up the line. Saliba sends it back the way it came. Loose touch in field, and then it's with Calafiori for Arsenal. Hasn't been too involved in these opening 17 minutes. Real maverick fullback Ricardo Calafiori, just pops up wherever he wants with Arsenal in possession. Saliba back to Raya. Of course, as I say that, Ricardo Calafiori reverts into the most traditional left-back position you will see and receives the ball there. Gabriel to Raya. On his penalty spot, gives it right to Saliba under minimal pressure from Sporting at the moment. Suarez and Trincao just backing up as Saliba brings it forward. But that's a poor pass from Saliba, aiming for Trossard. Though the little spin from Suarez didn't come off, and Arsenal back in possession. Zubimendi to Gabriel. Zubimendi bringing it forward, gives it to Saliba. Sporting backed into their own half as Saliba now brings it over the halfway line for Odegaard. Little reverse pass for Gyökeres, who taps it back to Saliba, who's now into the Sporting half as well. Madueke 1-2 with Saliba. Now back to Zubimendi. Rice turns. He's looking at Odegaard. Zubimendi again. Arsenal will call this patient, I'm sure, but not really threatening to break Sporting down with these passing patterns. Now it's out to Madueke, a player who does want to try and make something happen, and he runs at Araujo and wins a free kick. A little bit deeper than the earlier one, though. Odegaard does stand over it, but he's certainly not going to be able to put this one on Rui Costa. He has now left the free kick to Declan Rice. More in his sort of range, certainly not for a shot on goal, but for one of his signature deliveries. It is from the right, though. And as I say that, he takes short to Martin Odegaard. Now out to Trossard on the left, running one-on-one at Morita. Tees it back to Odegaard, first time crosses, easily headed away by Diomande. Collected by Declan Rice on the halfway line for Arsenal. 20 minutes gone, 0-0 between Sporting and the Gunners. Rice to Gabriel, under pressure from Trincao, just about works it back to Rice. Trincao visibly frustrated that he didn't come away with the ball there, and can understand why. Gabriel did show a fair bit of it to him. And Rice now back to Raya on the edge of the Arsenal penalty area. Now to Saliba. Again, Arsenal not really pressed, but in no great hurry to work this ball forward either, as Odegaard just takes it from right to left. Zubimendi. Gabriel to Rice, now into the Sporting half once again. Gabriel. Just a bit of dissension in the Arsenal ranks there. Gabriel looking at Zubimendi, who stood right between two Sporting players, screaming at him to move into the space. Pass didn't come to Zubimendi, and then he just had a little bark at Gabriel after the ball was gone, as Diomande has just played it off Trossard for a Sporting throw. Gabriel was visibly waving Zubimendi away there. Zubimendi was screaming for the ball to his feet where he was. Very static Arsenal. Here comes Araujo down the left for Sporting. He's been anything but static in this opening quarter game. Tries to nutmeg Ben White, doesn't come off, and then he's fouled the Arsenal fullback. Would have been quite spectacular that from Araujo to find the nutmeg and work his way into the penalty area. Ben White has fallen out of favour as the starting right back at Arsenal since Jurrien Timber's injury return, but talking about the return from the major injury that Jurrien Timber suffered, but he is out with an injury at the moment, and Ben White comes back in. Didn't cover himself in glory against Southampton at the weekend. Calafiori for Arsenal. Forward to Gyökeres, but he's beaten by Diomande. But then this loose header by Goncalves does drop for Gyökeres. He's worked it early out to Madueke. This is promising for Arsenal. Madueke away from Araujo. It's Ben White on the overlap, goes infield to Ødegaard instead. Looks like he's been fouled by Simões, but referee lets him play on. Ødegaard has just given it away though. Trincão. So Suarez back with Trincão. Now uses Suarez on his left again, just behind the Sporting striker, and that has slowed down their counter-attack. Suarez has to play it back to Araujo. Simões. Diomande on the right. Simões again to Inácio. From left to right for Sporting. Fresneda back to Rui Silva. Inácio. Well, they've given it away here, Sporting again. On his left-hand side, Madueke has surely been fouled again by Araujo. He has. Free kick to Arsenal. That's 3 fouls by Araujo on Madueke now. He's going to have to be careful in that battle. It's so good going forward, Araujo, but certainly don't want to find yourself on a booking up against the quick feet of Noni Madueke. It was a fairly needless foul, that one. Madueke heading for the byline. Araujo just wraps himself around him. Simões was there already doing the defending. Araujo accusing Madueke of taking a dive, but it's pretty clear contact. He wraps the leg around. There's Madueke again for Arsenal to Ødegaard, trying to slip it through to Gyökeres. Defended, and then Ødegaard's overhead kick is away from any of his teammates. It's Gini Catamo for Sporting. Trincão. Back to Morita. Diomande. Inácio. Diomande. Back to the goalkeeper. To Inácio. Sporting captain is definitely the press trigger for Arsenal. He has got it away on this occasion up the left for Suarez. Saliba battling with him, and Saliba comes away with the ball and then sends it back to his goalkeeper. Simões on the press as Raya come well out of his box, launched it forward first time, and that's going to run easily over to his opposite number in goal. Apology up for Gyökeres from Raya. Way too much on it for him. And the favour is returned. The long ball looking for Araujo. Just runs through to David Raya. Zubimendi. Madueke. Madueke up against Araujo. Cross off Araujo and behind for an Arsenal corner. Another one to come from the right. Madueke. It was a great delivery from him on the first. He has been lively for Arsenal tonight. It's going to be Madueke to deliver again from the right. Arsenal have Gyökeres, White, Zubimendi and Gabriel lining up at the back post. Madueke's delivery to the near post, headed by Ben White, who's made the run across, and the referee has spotted something he didn't like in there. I think it's a foul by William Saliba. Has been noted that the Champions League referees a little more alert to the set piece, dark arts, or whatever you want to call it, from all of the English sides, and Arsenal in particular. And once again they concede a foul at the set piece. Forward by Rui Silva, looking for Suarez, who ends up on the deck in a battle with Saliba. Referee says no foul. Up you get as the ball runs through to David Raya in goal. Gabriel came across and collected the ball. The Arsenal centre-backs have switched sides just for a moment, but it's Zubimendi in possession. Gives it to Rice. Saliba up the left to Calafiori. Now Trossard, who hasn't been too involved as yet for Arsenal. Everything good really has happened down their right-hand side. Over to Gabriel, who again is currently the right centre-back for Arsenal. Over once again to the left for Declan Rice. Right on the touchline, bringing it up the line. Back to Gabriel. He has now returned to his favoured side. Gives it to Zubimendi. Saliba in the centre circle. Infield to Zubimendi. Ødegaard turns away from Trincao. Madueke touches it inside to Ben White. Trossard as we reach the half-hour mark. Still 0-0 here. White through to Calafiori, who's come over to the right-hand side. Looked offside. No flag goes up. He gets the cross in with the right foot. Calafiori is beyond everybody. Rice just about keeps it in play on the left. Question field to Trossard. Bit of fluidity in the positions now for Arsenal. Here's White, the right back. Up the line for Madueke. These two where you'd expect them, but here's Trossard joining them on the right. Has just lost it in what looked a good challenge from Morita, but the referee has actually blown his whistle and booked the Sporting midfielder. Visibly furious, Morita. I did think that looked a good tackle from the Sporting number 5. He certainly gets the ball, Morita. No denying he does take a little bit of Trossard afterwards, but that looked a fair tackle to me. I think that's a really harsh yellow card for the Sporting midfielder. And the punishment mightn't end there as Declan Rice comes over to the free kick. It's another one on the right-hand side for Arsenal. A little bit further forward from the last one Declan Rice came to take, but he just played this one, that one short. Gyökeres, Calafiori, Zubimendi queued up at the back post. Rice delivers. Inacio heads clear. And it's going to run out for an Arsenal throw on the left-hand side. Calafiori will take the throw. Launch to the near post. Gabriel flicks on. Trossard battling with Inacio. Referee is blown for another foul. Goes Sporting's way. Free kick taken short. Calafiori comes steaming in with the tackle. Bit of back and forth here. Trossard trying to come away with the ball with a little pirouette turn. Eventually they do get it away, but Trincão's pass out for an Arsenal throw-in. Calafiori's throw. Gyökeres flicked on to Trossard. Sets it back to Calafiori. Rice. Trossard. Tried to play it infield for Calafiori. It's cut out by Fresneda. Pass up the line, straight through to Gabriel of Arsenal. Back on the ball, Calafiori. Finally the ball comes in field. It's been a really interesting battle on the far side from me for the last minute or so. Both teams really struggling to get out, but refusing to stop playing short. Sticking to their principles as Arsenal now get it over to the right. Odegaard for Madueke. White try to pick out the run of Madueke. Too much on it, and it's going to run through to the Sporting goalkeeper. Ben White. Arsenal back in possession quickly from the long ball forward by Sporting. Had plenty of the ball, Arsenal haven't done too much with it as yet. Ben White trying to play it through for Madueke. Madueke bundling into Morita. No foul as Zubamendi comes away with the ball for Arsenal. Calafiori. Zubamendi. Zubamendi through to Calafiori. Diamande comes across to defend and is able to see it out for a goal kick. Given away again though by Sporting as they try and play out. Declan Rice intercepts in a good position. Zubamendi though can't get it through past Araujo. Rice. Odegaard. Out-muscled by Araujo, who can then see it out for a Sporting throw-in. Araujo's throw. Timo's up the line, gives it away. Rice to White. Diamande. Over to the right. By the way, folks, I didn't realise that during the Morita yellow card decision, Sporting striker Luis Suarez has questioned the referee's decision, which, again, to me, he had every right to do. It was a poor decision. Suarez was shown a yellow card for the dissent, and he will now miss the return leg, which is a huge omission for Sporting. 8 minutes left of the first half. Morita on the ball, still 0-0. He gives it in field to his captain Inacio, who I think for the first time in this game has ventured into the Arsenal half in possession. Well into it in the final third. Gives it to Diamande, who's the furthest outfielder back for Sporting and still well into the Arsenal half. Morita, this is a good moment for Sporting. Back to Diamande. Inacio. Clipped long for Suarez. Up against Saliba. Saliba's tackle. Zubamendi. Oh, that's a wayward pass for Raya, and Raya has just about got it out for a Sporting goal kick. For a Sporting throw-in. Which seems to have a few of those moments, Martin Zubimendi. He's been punished before in the Premier League. Almost punished there, just a weak back pass to Raya. He had to scramble to get it out for a throw before Suarez was on the end of it. Simo's out to Trincao. Drops the shoulder on Calafiori, thinking about the shot. Infield for Pedro Goncalves instead. Calafiori cuts it out. Diamandi shoots from range and it's over and wide. I've just seen. I'm not sure what's going on. I didn't see Luis Suarez get booked. It's marked that he was, and it's now being said that it's through a logging error, not a flash score logging error, a logging error from UEFA, I suppose, and that Suarez isn't booked. We'll have to keep an eye out for that. I'll try and get some clarity on it at half time, because Suarez missing the second leg would be massive for both sides. Something else that's massive. A few minutes left for the first half in Madrid. Bayern Munich have taken the lead against Real Madrid through Luis Diaz. As Ben White is played through to the byline here for Arsenal, tries a cross and it's easily held by Rui Silva. Inacio receives again. He is the go-to for Sporting and trying to play out, but he hasn't looked comfortable on the ball. Well, as I say that, he finds it to Pedro Goncalves, who then plays an early ball out to the right for Fresneda on the overlap. His cutback blocked by Calafiori, and now Rice is bringing the ball out. Back to Calafiori. Gabriel hooks it into the air. Won by Morita. Fresneda. Juni Catamo. Trincao. Simos. Inacio. All the way back to Rui Silva for Sporting. A few minutes left of the half. Been pretty uneventful since the early chance for Araujo. Arsenal have had all of the ball and haven't really felt like doing anything with it. Out to the right for Fresneda. And two with Morita. Goes up the line. Trossard blocks it. Sporting throw-in. Odegaard. Shot from range on the right foot. Pretty weak and straight at the goalkeeper, Rui Silva. Don't often see Martin Odegaard have a go on the right foot. Distinctly one-footed player, I think it's fair to say. Out early by Silva to the right. Trincao is fouled by Gabriel. Diamandi goes forward. Oh, it looked a good ball for Suarez, cut out at full stretch by Calafiori. Can't keep the ball though. Pedro Goncalves looking out to the left. Crucial touch defensively by Madueke rushing back for Arsenal. Goncalves to Morita in the centre circle. Diomande. Inacio. Out to Araujo. Inacio again, Morita. Diomande. To Catamo. Struck the shoulder on Calafiori and got inside of him. Tried a 1-2 with Suarez, couldn't quite work it back to him. Diomande. Inacio. Sporting closing the half here with a spell of possession into the final minute of regular time. I don't think there'll be much to add any time on for. A really flat half of football in all honesty. Diomande. Morita. Just waiting for some movement in the centre, doesn't get it. Inacio splits the midfield of Arsenal with a pass for Simoes. Fresneda back to Diomande. Odegaard pressing. Loose touch from Trincao there is taken by Trossard. Now Declan Rice on the run down the left for Arsenal. Infield for Trossard. These two have switched positions for a moment. Trossard through the centre. He's not going to shoot from here, surely. He does. It's blocked by Morita. Probably just as well for Arsenal as it falls back to Trossard, but then hooked away by Pedro Goncalves. Raya pings it up the line for Declan Rice. Really nice pass, which Rice can turn on. But it's not going to matter because the referee blows for half-time without any added time. And that really tells you everything you need to know about this half of football. Both teams have hit the bar. Araujo for Sporting early on, and then Madueke directly from the corner for Arsenal. But other than that, no real talking points here in Lisbon. Hoping for a better second half. Calafiori's throw. Ødegaard. Gabriel. Back with his captain. Now, Sporting intercept and counter. Suarez's pass though cut out by Declan Rice in the left back position covering for Calafiori. Raya out to Ben White on the right, infield to Martin Zubimendi. Calafiori. Ødegaard. Trossard. Coming in from the left, Trossard might think about a shot, does go low and it's wide of the mark. Tried a little reverse shot there, Trossard. Catch the goalkeeper out. Shaped up for the far post and then just sliced it inside. And sliced it just wide of the mark at the near post. Down the left for Suarez. White intercepts, Sporting throw-in. For Trincao, switches it out to Fresneda up the line for Casamay. Back to Inacio in the centre circle. Forward for Catamo, tries on the stretch first time but doesn't get the right connection. Goal kick to Arsenal. It's a really good ball from Inacio. This is almost a mirror image of Diamandi's ball for Araujo in the first half. Splitting the Arsenal full-back and centre-back, but just at full stretch Gini couldn't quite direct it goalwards. Prior pass right into the path of Araujo by Diamandi. And about 5 minutes into the first half and 5 minutes into the second here, still 0-0 between Sporting and Arsenal. Martin Ødegaard on the ball for the Gunners. Saliba, now Gabriel. Ødegaard into the Sporting half on the right hand side of the pitch, 1-2 with Ben White, the Arsenal captain. Now tries a clip out to the left looking for Trossard. Fresneda wins in the air. Gini Catamo, has he been fouled there by Calafiori? Yes he has. Free kick goes Sporting's way. Trossard. To Ødegaard. To use White on the overlap, he lets it run for Madueke. And I think he's been fouled again by Araujo, the Arsenal man. That's 4 fouls by Araujo on Madueke now. And this one's a real swipe. Oh, you see, read Madueke's lips. How many, he says to the ref. That is 4 without a booking for Araujo. Arguably evens itself out with the yellow to Marisa, which was for a really good tackle on Trossard. Really harsh yellow card, that one. Booking or not, Arsenal have the free kick in a good position here on the right. Nearer to goal, Martin Ødegaard does stand over this one. He's taken the closer ones. And Declan Rice has been having the deeper free kicks. Ødegaard's earlier delivery right on the goalkeeper was a good one. Will he look to do similar here? Movement in the box, delivered to the back post, and the goalkeeper has to claw it over the crossbar. Arsenal corner. It's a really smart delivery from Odegaard again. He's put it right on the keeper. Even more deeply than in the first half from a similar position. And he's almost crept it under the crossbar. I think it's intended as a cross. But it does almost end up in the net. Just sneaking under the bar. And Rui Silva, I think, realised that at the last moment. Backpedaling with both hands, he was able to tip it over the bar. Was clawing it off the goal line. And conceding this corner. So danger not over. Noni Madueke to take to the near post. Trincao heads it back inside and out for another corner. Looked like it had come over the other way for Rice to take, but I think the referee has said that it's going to be from the same side. Yeah, it makes it out of play just on the side that it came in from. So another right-sided corner, another left-footed swinger to come from Noni Madueke for Arsenal. Still goalless here, 54 minutes on the clock. Madueke's right arm goes up, which it has for all the other corners, and it normally indicates this is going right on the goalkeeper. Same again, Gabriel, the target is just beyond him. Was a player down holding their head, but as Sporting look to counter, he's quickly back up to his feet. Mariah heads it at the halfway line, but now Suarez through to Trincao. Raya sprinting back into his goal. Trincao is forced wide by Saliba. He's not going to be able to get a shot away before Raya's back in the goal. Back with Araujo. Not such a rush now for Sporting. Trincao does put a cross in. It bounces and falls behind for an Arsenal goal kick. Nervy moment that though for the Gunners. They launched a counter from the corner there, Sporting. Raya had sprinted out to the halfway line to meet the ball. Headed, but not to safety. Back into Sporting possession. Suarez played it through to Trincao, but he just couldn't work his way infield from the wide position. Now his Rice on the run through the centre for Arsenal. Shaking off a couple of challenges and worked it out to Trossard on the left. Trossard against Fresneda takes it onto his left foot. Cross! Keeper scrambling. Araujo's beaten Madueke to the ball crucially. And then gets it away to Suarez. Through the back of him is William Saliba with a foul. Free kick to Sporting. Now another foul as Sporting go from left to right, but referee waves play on as they look to be building a nice attack, and certainly now with Araujo in behind White. Cuts it back to Trincao, low shot! Dribbles just wide of the post. Not sure if there was a touch in there by Gabriel, or if he's just seen it wide. Was wide of the mark as Raya takes the goal kick out to Gabriel. Given away though by Zubimendi as Trincao turns away from Ben White and plays it back to Inacio. Gini running at Calafiori, couple of step overs, takes to the byline. Calafiori sliding tackle behind for a Sporting corner. corner delivered low at the near post, defended, and there's a foul has gone Arsenal's way. Arsenal free kick. Referee giving a foul almost every set piece. Odegaard, Saliba, Odegaard to Saliba again, but now into the Sporting half. Odegaard dinked for the run of Calafiori, tried to flick it into the path of Gyökeres, cleared out to the Sporting left. Madueke keeps it in play. Odegaard. Saliba. Gabriel to Saliba now. Odegaard back with Saliba again on the halfway line. Odegaard turns on the right. Dinked forward for Ben White. Chested down. Helped around the corner. Madueke back with Odegaard again. Madueke. Odegaard. Back to Gabriel. Rice. Forced away from goal and goes all the way back to Raya. Madueke. Into the feet of Gyökeres on the edge of the penalty area. Touched out to White. Rice, now Odegaard. Back to Gabriel. Zubamendi. Gabriel again. Arsenal forced back into their own half from a dangerous position. Sporting about to make their first change of the evening. João Simões, teenager, has managed just over an hour in the midfield tonight. And he is replaced by Daniel Bragança. Meanwhile, the Arsenal skipper is receiving some treatment on the pitch. Arsenal taking a moment for a drinks break. They don't seem to have a substitute being prepared for Martin Odegaard, so just precautionary, or perhaps to earn that drinks break. Kai Havertz is getting warmed up, but I don't think we'll see him just yet. Back in play from the Arsenal throw. White to Madueke, trying to turn away from Araujo. It's to Gabriel. Gabriel with a nice pass into the box for Gyökeres if he's onside here. White, Zubamendi calls a shot. Oh, that's brilliant, Martin Zubamendi. Arsenal have the lead. 63 minutes on the clock. Martin Zubamendi curls one in, first time from about 25 yards. There will, of course, be an offside check on Victor Gyökeres's position there in the build-up. Let's have a look. Victor Gyökeres is well offside as he receives the initial pass, so this one is going to be chalked off. Well offside, Gyökeres. It's a great shame for Zubamendi because he's come under a lot of criticism recently, and in truth he wasn't having a great game tonight either, but he's just curled in a wonderful, wonderful finish. First time from 20 yards. Ball played onto his stronger foot and he just pulls back and curls it. It's well outside the post and then comes back inside. Keeper can only get fingertips on it but not make the save. It's a really good finish from Zubamendi, but it counts not, as the VAR decision has quickly been confirmed. Offside in the build-up against Victor Gyökeres. 0-0, the score remains, 64 minutes on the clock. And Rui Silva takes the Sporting free kick. Gabriel Calafiori, always been put under pressure there, Calafiori. Back to Raya, who kicks out of play, but the free kick had been given against Luis Suarez. Foul on Calafiori there. Trossard trying a first-time pass for Gyökeres. Ignacio holds him off and Rui Silva holds on to the ball. Gabriel's header from the Rui Silva long kick. Madueke. Back to White. Raya. Saliba receives the ball. Zubamendi. Rice. Trossard and field to Zubamendi from the left. Zubamendi to Saliba. Arsenal into the final third. Madueke against Araujo. A foul this time from the Sporting fullback. He's come away with the ball too. Taking it bravely in field though. He's run into Trossard. Now Zubamendi. Gyökeres drops the shoulder. Shot is blocked by Diamandi and then runs through with all the sting taken out of it to the goalkeeper. Arsenal back with the ball there with Rice. Now Trossard. What about a shot as he came in field? Tees it to Ben White and Madueke. Trossard. Odegaard. Madueke again round the Sporting penalty area. Caught with the game left. Madueke swings the cross into the back post. Calafiori is the target. Headed away by Diamandi. Trossard's put it down well and plays it right to Odegaard. Now out to Madueke on the touchline again. Heavy touch pass to Araujo. He'll keep this at the byline. Cross is headed behind. Is it by Ignacio? No, Rui Silva's just about managed to keep that in play. Prevents the Arsenal corner. And kicks along for Trincao. Cut out by Declan Rice. One-on-one back here, and Rice has done well to turn and get it back to his goalkeeper. Forgive me, I'm about to sneeze. Excuse me. Ball out to Madueke for Arsenal from Zubimendi. Still Madueke, back to Zubimendi. Gabriel to Saliba. Zubimendi through to Ben White in the penalty area. Good run from White. He can't get it away from Araujo though. Araujo back to Ignacio under pressure, kicks long only as far as Zubimendi in the Sporting half, who heads it forward again. Rice back to Zubimendi. There was a collision between Rice and I think it's the substitute Bragantia who's just coming together there with Rice. Referee said no foul, and Rice actually said, "Oh, just have a check on him." Looks like just a dead leg for him. As Arsenal are now going to make their first change of the evening. It's the skipper Martin Odegaard withdrawn first for the Gunners. 70 minutes on the clock, and it will be 20 for Kai Havertz in his place. Slightly attack-minded change for Arsenal. Odegaard has been mainly operating a flat midfield three, I think. When Havertz plays, he kind of plays a little more advanced in front of Zubimendi and Rice. Raya for Arsenal to Saliba. White, Madueke. Saliba. Looking for the run of Havertz, who'd pulled out to the right. Too much on it, and it goes out for the Sporting throw-in. Ignacio. Rice, Trossard. Well, Gabriel has slipped there, and it runs through to Trincao. He's got Gini Catamo beyond him and uses him on the right. Fresneda making the underlapping run. Gabriel's got back as Catamo makes the cross, headed away by Ben White. Gyökeres looks like he's been fouled there by Diamanda. Yes, he has. Free kick goes Arsenal's way. First action for Gabriel with the captain's armband on was an error. Real Madrid have just got one back against Bayern Munich. Quarter of an hour left there. Kylian Mbappe with a goal. Real Madrid 1, Bayern Munich 2. Still goalless between Sporting and Arsenal. 17.5 minutes left on the clock. And these teams give us something to get excited about, other than the bringing it out once again between the two Arsenal centre halves. Saliba The feet of Havertz, back with the Frenchman. Saliba. Frustration there for Bragança. He thought he'd nick that ball off Saliba, but not quite. And now here comes the cross to the back post. Trossard is just behind it, and it goes out for a goal kick. It's a great ball from Madueke. Comes inside from the right, puts the cross behind the head of Inacio. Gyökeres doesn't make the move early enough, and then Trossard just doesn't gamble and stick the leg out, and it bounces beyond him. And now this is interesting because Mikel Arteta has a double substitution prepared. One is Gabriel Martinelli, and the other is the 16-year-old Max Daumann. Arguably Arsenal's brightest point in the FA Cup defeat against Southampton. And he is going to be introduced here. A quarter of an hour or so of Champions League football. Champions League knockout football at that, at 16 years old. Gini Catamo. After Trincao, who's pulled out to the right now. His attempt to cross is blocked by Leandro Trossard, who just feels the calf and limps after that one. That is, well, that's one of the oldest tricks in the book, isn't it? Trossard knows he's about to come off for Gabriel Martinelli. And now he puts the limp on. Trossard off for Martinelli. And Madueke off for 16-year-old Max Daumann. For my money, the best player on the pitch, Noni Madueke, but his evening is over. Quarter of an hour for these two new wingers to make an impact on the game. Diamandi clips the ball forward. Calafiori cuts it out, tries to get it forward to Martinelli. Won by Morita. Fresneda back to Morita on the halfway line, coming infield from the right. Oh, that's a weak pass from Morita, but Havertz couldn't quite get there before Bragança. Morita. Fresneda. Directed the other way by Arsenal. Gyökeres goes down under challenge from Diamandi. Referee tells him to get up. The Sporting play on. Diamandi. Rice. Martinelli. Saliba. On the right on the halfway line, back to Gabriel. Passes a little beyond Rice on the left, but he has got there. And for Martinelli with a lovely outside the boot pass for Calafiori, cut back, just rolls behind Gyökeres, not enough on it. Clearance, Gabriel wins, but then back in Sporting possession again. Pedro Goncalves. Bragança. Suarez. Bragança again. Araujo. Back to Pedro Goncalves, out to Gini now on the right. Drops the shoulder on Calafiori. Low shot is just wide of the mark. Gini furiously protesting for the corner. Thinks Calafiori blocks this. I don't think there is a touch from the Italian. I think it's through the legs of Calafiori. Yeah, I've seen a couple of angles, I don't think there is a touch. Goal kick to Arsenal. Substitution number 2 for Sporting. Pedro Gonçalves is off, and Rafael Nel his replacement. Both teams have used 2 substitution windows, 2 subs made by Sporting, 3 by Arsenal. Gabriel on the ball. He has inherited the captain's armband since Odegaard's removal. Here's Gabriel. Zubamendi. Over to Ben White. Into the Sporting half for Max Daumann. We've been fouled by Araujo, and that is number 5 now for Araujo. No booking though as the free kick is taken quickly. Calafiori to Gabriel, now to Martinelli on the left. Back with Gabriel. Daumann. Fouled again by Araujo, that's 6. Still no booking. Arsenal free kick, Declan Rice. To Daumann again. On the run. Slips one through to Ben White in the box. Plays it outside to Havertz, who is mainly operating on this right-hand side. Zubamendi. Saliba. Whites. Back to Saliba. Gabriel. Saliba. White, Saliba. White again now. Zubamendi can turn and look goalwards. Through to Havertz, touch away from Diamande. Clearance cannons off Havertz again and behind for Sporting goal kick. Inacio from the goal kick, switch for Diamande. Gabriel winning off Suarez. Comes back to Diamande though. Good forward, White wins in the air, Zubamendi. Daumann battling with Araujo, and the free kick has gone Sporting's way, foul against Daumann. Here comes Sporting there on the right. Suarez trying to get away from Calafiori. He has sat down Calafiori. Cross, and the header is saved by Raya brilliantly. Huge chance for Sporting. Fresneda slipped it through to Suarez. Little cut back, couple of step overs. Drops Calafiori far too easily. The defender dives in. Suarez freely able to cross, sends it in at the near post. Gini Katama gets his head on it, diving low, and it's a really good save from Raya down at his near post. Corner comes in, headed away by Kai Havertz out for a Sporting throw-in on the right. Here is Gini on the right again. Good touch away from Calafiori. Fresneda then wins a throw-in off the Arsenal fullback. Works from right to left for Sporting. 6 minutes left on the clock. Still goalless here in Lisbon. Inacio. Diomande on the halfway line. Back to the Sporting skipper. Araujo. The line for Nelly slips. Now Dauman comes away with the ball. Past Trincao. Past Bragança. And fouled by Araujo. How many is he going to get away with tonight? Still no booking. Incredible. Here's Rice for Arsenal. Through to Martinelli. Fancies an early shot, Martinelli. It's blocked on its way through, and then Rui Silva, holds on at the second attempt. There's actually no touch there. It looked like it changed directions in mid-air as it passed Diomande. I thought he'd got a little touch on it, but no, straight at the goalkeeper. Rui Silva initially just spills it down into his body and then holds on before anyone can get there in Arsenal blue. But Arsenal quickly win it back from the ball forward for Sporting, though Trincao has come away with the ball from Declan Rice there. It's ball through for Nell, is cut out by Ben White. And sliding in is Bragança on the White pass. Out for an Arsenal throw-in. Gabriel for the Gunners. Silly. Forward, White trying to work it through to Gyökeres. Morita comes away with the ball. He's done really well to turn away from Zubamendi there and play it forward. And it's helped by Suarez out to Gini Catamo. He's gone alone. Ryan makes a save. Suarez on the follow-up. Zubamendi gets it away. Referee said no foul as Suarez went in on the keeper, so that might have been a Sporting goal if not for Zubamendi's interception. Out for a Sporting throw-in. Fresneda, the right back, takes it short to Catamo. Back to Diomande. All the way back to Inacio, under pressure from Havertz. To the left, slip through here, and Raya gets there before Nell. Quick off his line there, the goalkeeper. Rolls out to Saliba. White. Zubamendi. A few minutes left on the clock. They're about to hit 90 in Madrid, where it's still Real Madrid 1, Bayern Munich 2. Zubamendi, Havertz on the turn, out to Dauman on the right. Referee has pulled back a foul on Luis Suarez. And he just caught a hand from Havertz coming across as Havertz broke with the ball there. Calafiori. Rice lets it run for Martinelli. Now out to Rice on the left. So that's a lot of Dauman with this switch. Dauman does keep it in play. Araujo, though, is on his back. Dauman turns towards the corner flag. Araujo eventually wins it off him. Clearance, though, is only as far as Zubimendi, who heads it down to Ben White. Zubimendi to Rice. White. Dauman. Saliba. Saliba to Dauman. Dispossessed by Inacio at the byline. Clearance is blocked by White and out for a Sporting throw-in. Gabriel. White wins it from the Sporting throw. "90 minutes are up here, just 2 additional indicated." Hasn't really been anything other than the Zubimendi goal, which was quite quickly chalked off by VAR and a couple of sub-breaks. Headlock in the 90th minute! And I'm quite certain this one's going to count. So composed from Kai Havertz. He's got all the time in the world to bring this ball down and finish, but I'm pretty... My Arsenal celebrating, so we will continue here for now. Diamande to Gini Catamo. Oh, nice little flick there by Suarez. Wants it back. Bragança has a go, and it almost fell to Nel. Away by Ben White. He's got it into a really good area. It's not going to go for a throw-in. It trickles through to the Sporting. With a risky back pass there for Diamande under pressure from Gyökeres. Clips it out to Catamo. He's kept it in play. This might now be the last attack for Sporting. Fresneda busting a gut to overlap and does receive it. Time to pick out a cross. It's through to the grateful arms of David Raya. And that is that in Lisbon. The referee blows for full time. Sporting 0, Arsenal 1. The injury time winner on the night from Kai Havertz. But this tie is only halfway done. Arsenal take a 1-goal lead to the Emirates Stadium next Wednesday. But Sporting overturned a 3-goal deficit in their round of 16 tie, so this one is far from over. Do join us again next Wednesday for the second leg of Arsenal and Sporting in the Champions